March 30th, 2026 Charter Revision Commission to order. If you can all please rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As we do at all of our meetings, we will start with public audience. We ask that the public state their name and address. Take 3 minutes. Franklin, you've got the timer, potentially, to speak. Keep the comments towards what's on the agenda. And Joan, would you like to say something?
I would love to speak to you.
Oh, okay.
My pleasure. Charter Revision Commission. The Charter Revision Commission is a temporary, independent body mandated to review a municipality's foundational governing document. Their mandate includes updating governing structures, improving efficiencies, and ensuring the charter reflects current community needs. The Charter Revision Commission should not change their deliberations and votes in the draft charter to a political document serving the power-hungry elected officials. The draft charter is written as inserted first to represent the first selectman. Trying to avoid gender identity, the draft charter reflects first without any designation of the position. This mindset only is designated for the first selectman, not the board of selectmen, with both genders elected to the board. The position, I don't know. The position of first selectman should remain. This position should revert to the present charter of first selectman. The Economic Development Commission should not be included in the charter as it has become a political football and has not increased the grand list over the years. The organizational chart that is included, which I have here, which I'll show you. The organizational chart that is included in the budget has the voters of the town listed on top, the elected boards and commissions, the town manager, and town departments. There is no designation for the first selectman, leading one to think that this is a ceremonial position without any authority. Therefore, there should be no need to change the first selectman position from a 2-year term to 4 years. For clarity, I would like to have the Charter Revision Commission review my remarks and make the necessary changes in the draft report. And all of my comments will be posted on Simsbury Patch and Twitter at Joan Co. Thank you for listening.
Just for the record, can you just state your name and address?
Oh, Joan Co., 26 Whitcomb Drive.
Thank
Sorry
you very
about
much.
that.
That's okay. Thank you very much. Wendy, did you want to?
Oh, no, I just came to,
Okay, I just want,
but thank you.
you're welcome. Seeing as there's no other public audience, I'm going to move to the next agenda item, which is to approve the January 21st, 2026 minutes.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
I'm abstaining
opposed?
since I was not here, but I watched it, but I'm abstaining. since I was
Thank
not
you.
there.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is to consider the Board of Selectmen draft report recommendations for changes, which is in our packet. It's the memorandum that we received from the Board of Selectmen. I would like to make a motion that instead of going in order on the items that are in here, that we reserve 1 and 5 for the end of our discussion and just review 2, 3, and 4, which are more grammatical changes, like word additions, things like that. Then I don't believe will require a lot of discussion, and then we can go to those other 2 items instead of starting out with 1, which I believe is going to be a lengthier discussion. Does anybody have any objections to that?
Okay. Thank you.
So item number 2 is for section 403E. There was 2 items there. One was to where it says specifically, does the word reports place an unknown burden of work on staff if the request is voluminous. So this is regarding ask in 403E.
It's right at the very bottom of
Thank you.
the
Right at
last
the
sentence.
bottom.
I think probably the Board of Selectmen meant to ask if the reporting requirement placed an undue burden on the town staff.
Yes, instead of unknown.
Yeah, and you know, this is a topic, I don't remember how much time we spent on this particular provision, but the idea of reporting is one we've kicked around a lot in our deliberations. The sentence that they're addressing here allows elected officials and members of boards and commissions to ask for information and reports, and it's qualified by saying that they can ask to receive these things in a timely fashion, and only such reports as are required for the conduct of said board. So I think those are sufficient qualifications to leave it the way it is.
I do understand their concern because, and I see it both ways, I think that you're going back and forth too. What does the word reports mean? Because it could be, they're not counting cones. I know that was kind of the analogy the whole time of how many cones do you have in stock, but it could be a lot of data that not necessarily, it might be in the purview of a certain commission, but it may be a little excessive, I guess. But I don't know if there is a way to define that any more thoroughly than it is now, because we might be restricting too much if we put more wording in there. It is difficult, I think, both ways.
I agree. So I think it does also go with their comment B, because at the meeting, the discussion was around, does a board member have to go through the chair of that particular board in order to get information? And I think that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was, wonder if the rest of the board needs something and the chair, for whatever reason, is unwilling to ask for that information because they have a different agenda. How does that happen? Like, how do you go about handling that? I mean, I think the intent was for us to have the information go through the chair in order to not be burdensome on the staff. Okay.
I think that's exactly right.
And if you can't have 9 commission members asking staff for different pieces of information, it really should, I think our intent was to have it go through the chair because we wanted to make sure it wasn't burdensome.
Or they were also skirting around the chair.
And asking for things.
Right. It should be headed from, and I realize that the Board of Selectmen was kind of a different scenario than maybe everyone else, but I'm not sure too, because.
I see your point if the chair decides, well, I don't want to do that, but the rest of the board is thinking, no, we really need this information. I think there would be opportunity for motion on board and board votes and directs the chairman to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So would that be
I think
the
that
course
would
of
take
any?
care of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So we don't have to highlight that again. It would just be.
Just doing, if we did something where we added language to this where it required the approval of the board and the information was requested by the chair, that way the board has taken a vote on what they want. They can do, no one's going to ask for a report that is irrelevant to the job because they voted on it. Or does that become too big of a burden on the board and commission?
Yeah.
I think that would put a burden on the boards. And I think it would also not allow the chair to have discussions with the liaison about what they need. If they, for everything they wanted, they had to go back to the board to get a vote. I think the breaks we had talked about on this was that if the liaison feels that what is being asked for is too much or too quick, they can go to the town manager, and the town manager would go to the board chair and say, hey, wait a minute, we may be able to get you this stuff, but we decide what's timely. So I think in a way, it fosters I think a better communication between the board chair and the liaison and the town manager, or in this case, the first selectman, or first, we said first, in order to do that as well. I think the intent of this was not to allow for a lot of requests that burden staff. This was actually a way to reduce that.
Right.
And recognize that we need to have something in there that allows for them to obtain information, but it has to be in a timely information and for the conduct of the board or commission's duties.
Mm-hmm.
So the out is always for the liaison to say, wait a minute, that's not within what your duty is and what you're trying to accomplish. So.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what you said, the importance of the reporting requirement, right? That staff person does not report to me as the Board of Education chair.
Right.
Reports to Mark. And that's I think that's an important distinction for exactly what you said, because you don't want a chair ask, even the chair, you're right, you don't want 9 commission members doing it, but you also don't want a chair that's overzealous and asking for a different report every 3 days.
Right.
So again, I just don't want to lose sight of the town manager's role in all of this.
Right. And I think if you go to change the word reports, I don't know what word you'd use.
Yeah, you get data there. You could say the same argument with the the inclusion of the word data. I don't think there's any way of getting around the larger issue there.
Yeah.
So are we okay leaving it as we recommended?
I would, if there's no further discussion, I'd move that we leave this as recommended.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Section 404A. So consider adding the phrase "except prescribed by law" in the last sentence.
Issue with that?
So, Bob, you didn't have an issue with adding that language when the Board of Selectmen met?
It's like big scissors, right, Wendy?
404A. So it would be adding
It's
the phrase
related to the
except as
first
prescribed
compensation.
by law in the last sentence. So the first shall be the chief and get a stipend as established for each term of office by the selectmen in accordance with the general statutes. And then it would read, or in accordance with the general statutes, except as prescribed by.
No,
the last sentence.
Excuse me, that was the first
The
sentence.
sentence that prohibits payment of any kind of benefits to the first.
And-
Notwithstanding the foregoing.
No,
No, you're saying in the first sentence. In the
404A.
first sentence, right?
no.
Last sentence.
Last sentence, where it says the first shall not receive any form of compensation or be eligible for any employee benefits as defined by town personnel rules, including but not limited to pension benefits, healthcare,
Personal, or any.
Oh, right,
form
okay.
of
as except as
employment.
prescribed by law, because this came up in the conversation of if for some reason there's a claim of disability because of getting hurt doing something, performing the function of first, that they wanted to say except prescribed by law, because there's some
We talked about workers' compensation.
workers' compensation came up as a part of that conversation.
Except for big scissors.
I think as a general proposition, the phrase except as prescribed by law is fine.
Okay,
Because if it's prescribed by law, charter or no charter, you're gonna have to do it.
right.
It just clarifies
It just
that.
clarifies it. So do I have a motion to,
So,
well, I can't make a
I'll second
motion.
Oh. I make the motion that we approve adding the phrase except as prescribed by law at the end of 404, section A.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 404D. So this came up in discussion at their meeting, that it wanted the instructions should be in line with the board policy. So I personally don't see any issue with that. The first shouldn't be doing anything that the rest of the board doesn't want them doing.
My hesitation about this is that if there may be times between board meetings when the first has to address the town manager about a matter as to which no policy has been set or expressed. And I'm not sure. I mean, in reality, if the first is giving instructions or trying to carry out policies that are inconsistent with what the board is saying, our town manager is articulate enough to raise that issue with the other board members. So I don't know if this, restricts or creates more problems than it solves. I'm a little reluctant to accept
It's
this
may
one.
though.
Pardon?
It is a may.
It's
and
may, not shall.
So I mean, I don't know if that gives you any.
Yeah, I guess that's right.
Kind of a nebulous, I mean, does it really? It's not requiring a vote of the board, it just says it in line with their policy. That's pretty.
This is a policy they would elect to have in their section, or
That's words,
policy
but
and
I
procedure.
don't know if that makes any changes.
I think it was just adding some clarity for the Board of Selectmen that there wasn't going to be 6 bosses. That there wasn't going to be an ask by the first.
Mhm.
It's not in line with what the rest of the board wants. It's how I understood the conversation to go with their discussion around it.
So this request came up from the Board of Selectmen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Not
I
if
guess
it's
my,
friendly either way.
yeah, I just don't know, how would it change things? I mean, we're gonna say, well, that's not in line with us and we're gonna vote on it.
Well, because it's a may and not a shall, it's not a requirement either.
I know that's.
It's an allowance.
Yeah, but
But-
if it may be I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
No,
off.
go
It may
ahead.
be, if it reads it may be in line with board policy, well, it also may not be then. So like, I'm not sure what it does at the end of the
Just
day.
adding words, that's
Yeah.
what
So
I'm
you
thinking.
wouldn't want a provision that says in effect that the first may direct the town manager to do something that contradicts
Right.
the policy of the board. I acknowledge that. I don't think we need the extra language, but I can see the logic behind it.
I don't think we need it.
Yeah, that's it.
Do we have a motion either way? I'll make a motion to not include it.
Second.
Second, okay. Give
Any
Ron a
discussion?
second.
All in favor? Aye. Then we're gonna go to 6. Which is regarding section 701. So this was just, I think, more of an administrative thing that the Board of Selectmen wanted timely notice given to the Board of Selectmen when the town manager changes reporting structures. So they didn't want to find out 6 months down the road that so-and-so is no longer reporting to the town planner, or they just want notification of that because there was not a requirement for that. I don't personally see any issue with it because it just is asking for timely notification. It's not giving a time frame that when it has to be done. They just want to be notified that there's been a reporting change, just so they understand the structure of the.
So should it then be and shall give timely notification?
Yeah.
Cause the first part of the sentence is a may, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Good point.
That's why we have attorneys in the room.
Change and shall give timely notification. Okay.
Maybe want to make a motion or further discussion or
I move that we make the change
with shall?
with shall. So by adding and shall give timely notification to the Board of Selectmen to the end of the last sentence of section 701.
Second?
Second?
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Section,
Can I have
yeah.
one question? On section 702, did we earlier say under C municipal, move social service director and library director up under B directors?
Yes, that has been done.
That's been
Sorry
done.
if you have a older version.
Yeah, okay.
That was
Nicely
in
done.
the draft report submitted to the Board of
Okay,
Selectmen.
great. Just wanted to verify, thanks.
So 801 G 1. They wanted this to mirror the wording in section 502A15.
Would it be the same wording or just an adjustment to it?
So 502A15 has to do with the town manager's consultation with the Board of Selectmen
Right.
about labor negotiation. And 801G1 is about a consultation between the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance.
Yes.
So they don't necessarily have to work in concert, although they're basically the same principle. I mean, is it the case that the selectmen commence negotiations with the town collective bargaining units? I mean, it's really the town manager who conducts those
That's what I thought.
negotiations. So maybe.
Correct, the selectmen do not.
Yeah, so
The selectmen don't.
negotiations.
So I guess in 801G1, we should begin by saying within 30 days before the date on which the town manager is to commence negotiation.
Isn't it may technically be the town though.
Right, but the Board of
But then it
Selectmen,
says, or before the selectmen vote to approve a change to a retirement plan, but that's a separate issue.
yep. The Selectmen shall meet and confer with the Board of Finance.
Right.
Is it the Selectmen or the town manager that confers with the Board of Finance?
Well, under
On 15.
in 502, the town manager is going to confer with both boards.
With
Right.
both the selectmen and the Board of Finance.
So this is,
And this
do we
is just for
actually
the
need
Board
a
of
separate
Finance.
meeting with the Board of Selectmen? I
Yeah,
mean,
because this is under,
we'll want something about the change to the retirement plan.
That's
Yeah.
It's the retirement plan. Because that's not included in the section 15 of 502.
Yeah,
So that needs to be split out between two sections, so it's a little less.
or we could
Overall
add it to
encompassing?
A15.
What, eliminate G1 and just add into 15?
No, I just mean add to A15 the changes to the retirement plan so that the town manager is consulting with both boards.
Are there general statutes regarding the town collective bargaining? Seems like there's one for
There's one reference in 15.
Board of Ed, but not.
Yeah, there's no statute like the Board of Ed statute.
I mean, I would
Bob,
say,
what's your thought on that? You were in the Board of Selectmen meeting.
We're talking about recommendation 801G1. 801G1 revise the section to mirror the language that we had in 502A15. So currently it says this within 30 days. In which the selectmen are to
Yeah, I think the town manager is the one who commences negotiations. And then what is 502A say?
I mean, I think you need it here because of the retirement funds, because the Board of Selectmen are the ones are voting on that, right?
Yes, well, they're going to approve the labor agreements as
Right.
well.
So did we just change this to say town manager instead of selectmen commence the negotiations and leave it as is, the rest of it?
Yeah,
Yeah, because because the Board of Selectmen does vote to approve
Yeah,
of a change.
isn't it the town managers commencing negotiations on behalf of the Board of Selectmen though?
That's correct.
I think selectmen is the right.
well, no, the town manager is the exclusive bargaining agent on behalf of the town. And the town manager works for the Board of Selectmen. But it's not the Board of Selectmen that commences negotiations, it's the town manager. just like it's the superintendent that commences negotiation with the, although the board is much more involved in collective bargaining on the board side than the town manager, than the selectman is on the town side. But I do think it's the town manager that commences negotiations.
But the Board of Selectmen votes to approve a
Right.
change to the retirement plan, right?
That's correct. And the whole idea here was early on that before the town manager starts negotiations, town manager would be obligated to discuss those future negotiations with the Board of Selectmen, not to tie the town manager's hands, just to give general direction, the state of the town's finances and whether it be some sort
Because
of.
this whole section is regarding the retirement plan. It's not regarding anything but the retirement plan.
No, it says
No,
union
it's
negotiations and
or-
contractual
yeah.
changes to
Or-
retirement funds.
Yeah, it's follows the same path.
Okay, so it's both then,
Mhm.
all right, the way it's written, okay.
So we could just make a motion to change the word selectmen in the first sentence to town manager.
Yeah, town manager is, instead of
In which the town manager is to commence negotiations.
So
Don't you
As
agree
it-
with that,
as it
Mark?
is
It's really
now,
you that
comparing the
commences
two
negotiations.
provisions.
I do, yes, Bob, that's good.
So where are we? 502A15 says that the town manager, before conducting union negotiations, shall confer with two boards, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance, which is good. 801G now says that before the town manager begins union negotiations or retirement, changes to retirement plans, the selectmen will meet with the Board of Finance. I don't know if we need a meeting between the two boards or if we just want that consultation with the town
Selectmen.
manager.
You're right, they do have to kind of agree
I
on
mean, we do, yeah,
502 and 801 need to agree. They're a little different.
so what we could do is in 502A15 is add a provision that says the town manager will meet and confer with, well, he's obviously going to meet with the Board of Finance to approve, he's not going to approve any changes to a retirement plan. That's something that's going to be done by the Board of Selectmen. But presumably the town manager will be negotiating any changes to the retirement plan because they'll be part of the union negotiations. Although not every retirement plan has to be approved that way, so I take that back. All right, maybe.
That was a nice dance.
Yeah. So actually, I would leave 502 the way it is. And we'll make the one change.
Make the one change to 80.
And the only question I have then is in the 801G1, do we want the selectmen to meet and confer with the Board of Finance, or do we want the town manager to have that meeting?
I think it makes more sense if it's the town manager.
Yeah.
That's what it
Because
says.
it says within 30 days before the date of which the town manager commences negotiations with any town collective bargaining unit, okay?
Right,
Or before the selectmen vote to approve a change to the retirement plan, the town manager shall meet and confer with the Board of Finance.
I think that's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
think
makes more
that's
sense. Would you like to make that motion?
Yes.
Second.
I will.
Hold on,
I'm writing,
don't
I'm
ask me to
writing
repeat
it
it.
down. Okay. All right, we're going to change G1 to read, within 30 days before the date on which the town manager commences negotiations with any town collective bargaining unit, or before the selectmen vote to approve a change to any retirement plan, the town manager shall meet and confer with the Board of Finance.
And second?
Second.
Any
Did you
discussion?
get that, Franklin?
Yep, I made the changes, they're on the big screen.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Big screen.
You're okay with that, Counselor?
Okay, 901. So this section honestly just needs to go away because it's a throwback.
You really don't.
So they want us to review the potential of removing this section because it refers to really when we just had a selectman form of government without a town manager. And Bob, you didn't seem to have any issue with removing this at
Yeah, I couldn't remember why we always kept it in for previous.
right, so.
The selectmen during the first term of office under the provisions of this charter shall adopt an ordinance providing establishment. I mean, that's already been done.
Aren't there, was it for review? To just, so we don't have individual officers in there that are no longer in existence or?
Well, it says shall adopt an ordinance.
Yeah.
Providing for the establishment of positions.
Right, they might just be reestablishing the previous one, but.
Yeah, I don't think that happens.
It doesn't happen.
No.
Well, and the first term of office is ambiguous because the first term of office for an incumbent is not that year. It could have been the previous term.
1967. During the Board of during the selectmen's first term under the provisions of this charter. So that was recent.
First of all, do we even have an ordinance that implements personnel guidelines, job
I was just saying.
I don't think the personnel rule
Create like a position description.
That's in the next section.
902 basically covers 901.
Yeah.
It's right under.
I know too.
Oh, you're saying I should have kept reading.
If you remove section 901, we're just gonna have to tweak 902 to remove the reference to section 901.
Right.
Yeah.
General housekeeping like that.
And you're gonna have to reorder, or you're gonna have
And
to
reordering,
renumber.
yes, thank you. But that's fine,
I
everything
think
is.
902 has been done,
Yes.
but you have to take out that first sentence.
So we do have an
First-
ordinance
first.
regarding personnel. Chapter 48
Chapter 48.
is an ordinance for personnel. And it dates from 1975.
Right, but
It's only
actually
been a goodie.
901 and 902 are inconsistent.
Right.
Yeah.
Stated fee cycles.
So I would propose that we amend 902 to eliminate the first clause and have the first sentence begin, "The town manager shall cause to have prepared a statement of the duties and responsibilities of each position." We might want to specify when that's done. We might want to at least reaffirm them biannually. And then eliminate section 901 entirely. And that would mean we'd have to renumber all of the provisions of chapter 9.
Yeah, and
And
So there's also just.
the renumbering makes me want to withdraw.
Yeah, so there's also a chapter A160 in our code, which has personnel rules and regulations, which was adopted in 2023.
That's probably not, the focus is for chapter 48 personnel. There is a Simsbury code ordinance that does detail some information regarding
From
this
1975.
reference from the charter that Bob is currently looking at.
and you can take it out of the charter, it doesn't impact the ordinance stays in place.
Right, I like what you said, to have the town manager prepare it, but how frequently is probably.
Then you can run the risk, it's an ordinance, you can essentially, it would never
You can-
happen. It could get from public hearing and then they could choose to abolish it,
Right.
which it doesn't make a lot of sense, cause read what the ordinance says, it's just general logistical stuff you'd have for a town.
We could provide that the town manager will prepare or restate the position description, so it's not necessary for them to
Redo them.
reinvent the wheel every 2 years or whatever.
Well, that's a statement. One way or another, it's a statement.
Well, yes, but it's
So they
not,
prepared a statement, so that means it can be renewed or existing, just says nothing's changed. Says the town manager shall cause to have prepared a statement of the duties and responsibilities.
yeah, okay, right, so your point is
Less
that
words.
you can satisfy it just by saying ditto.
Yeah, right.
So the proposal is to remove 901, remove the first sentence of, the first portion of the sentence of 902.
But 901 talks about an ordinance, 902 talks about a resolution. And I think the purpose of 901 is it sort of establishes a classified service by saying there shall be job classifications dating back to 1975. I don't know what happened before 1975.
Come on.
But there may be some merit to having a charter provision that says there shall be an ordinance that establishes job descriptions. Otherwise, a future board of selectmen can say, we don't need that
Right.
ordinance anymore, and repeal it.
So do you just, can it stay in here but somehow remove during the first term of office, because that seems to be ambiguous, because
Shall.
Maintain an ordinance.
Shall adopt.
Shall adopt or maintain?
Shall.
Adopt and revise from time to time.
well, we have the revision every
Yeah.
is it 4 years
At least,
of the ordinances in the charter, proposed charter? So do you just take out during the first term of office in,
The Board of Selectmen shall adopt an ordinance providing for the establishment.
That feels right to me. The board of selectmen shall, and if there already is an ordinance, they don't have to do it again, but that establishes in the charter that there shall be an ordinance that does these things. Because the next section says the town manager by resolution shall include this greater detail, and that's where the personnel rules are really,
okay,
personnel rules are not ordinance, they're appended like the purchasing policy, they're just appended to the code.
So sounds like it's keep 901, but say the selectmen shall adopt or maintain an ordinance? Cause the
well, you don't
ordinance is there.
maintain it,
Yeah,
They don't,
And once it's adopted,
once
I
it's
think
adopted, it's adopted.
how about shall adopt and from time to time revise an ordinance?
But we
How
don't
about
have, we're
this?
saying, we're requiring that for every 4 years anyway.
I don't remember what section we put that in.
Yeah.
on the board of selectmen.
Under the
Why
Board of Selectmen.
why wouldn't we, if you, I'm trying to put these two together, so if we got rid of 901, it still says that the town manager shall essentially do the job descriptions that are then adopted by resolution by the select, why wouldn't we just say, I don't have the exact wording, but have the selectmen adopted by ordinance.
In accordance with the ordinance.
Yeah.
Shall by.
It just seems like there's a lot of steps, that's it, for job descriptions, that's all I'm trying to.
Yeah.
In accordance with the
Yeah.
ordinance
It can
adopted
be
by the board of
confusing.
selectmen.
Well, this has been common in the charter and it just shows the lack of a cohesive approach because you have entire paragraphs that is just to denote a singular point. Like we removed where it says under elected boards and commission, there shall be a section on appointed boards and commissions. So the charter lays out things plainly like that. There shall be a this and stop. 901 acts as that. There shall be an ordinance for this, stop. So you can keep it, you can add it to 902 and try to reconfigure it, but basically it's there to say that the ordinance shall be set. So if you wanna revise it further, 901 looks like it just establishes an ordinance shall be made. And if you wanna move that somewhere else, we can move it, it would take a little bit of time to make it look nice.
Question is, because there already is an ordinance, could 902 be revised to reflect the fact that the ordinance is already there and the town manager shall by resolution do all these other things in accordance with the ordinance?
Yeah, but that's not consistent with some other things that we have ordinances for. I mean, we have an ordinance for the library, which is totally wrong at the moment.
1965 or something.
I mean, it doesn't even refer to the right building.
Yeah, and the ordinance actually mimics a lot of what 902 already says. It says town manager shall prepare or cause to be prepared. Or revise position descriptions from time to time.
We thought this would be easy.
Well, it's easier than other conversations, so.
Yes. Do we have to be so much verbiage in 902?
You could say that among the whole charter commission.
I'm not going, down that rabbit hole.
To answer your question, no, but to take the time to come up with the best paragraph,
Yeah.
it's gonna take a little bit more
Okay.
thought than us in a meeting. That's the whole
Yeah.
purpose of the commission, and to have us and
I can see 2 more meetings coming up.
Okay, sorry.
2 more years.
Skip it.
2 more years.
But granted, that is probably the work of prior commissioners and commissions, seeing and leaving it for later and later commissions, leading to
Well,
a
then you
charter
get
that
Jesse.
could be multiple different elements and multiple.
Did we just do shall review?
Shall.
Second shall,
Their first term shall review.
just get rid of the word second shall
Evaluate.
review or.
The existing one.
But to Chris's point, what is first term?
Get rid of
First
it.
term.
Well, first of all, you can't, you couldn't put review an ordinance, because if then the Board of Selectmen repeal an ordinance, then there's nothing there for them to review.
Yep.
So you wanna require
Consider.
them to have an ordinance regarding this, which
So-
we have. We've already got somewhere else in the charter where we're requiring them to review the ordinances every 4 years. I think the bigger issue yes, there's a lot of words saying the same thing, but the first term of office, it has to go.
Yes.
Because that makes zero sense, because, if you're an incumbent and you get elected 4 times, was your first year of office 10 years ago or this year?
Yeah.
Mark has a comment.
That's a good point.
Just to repeat what I mentioned to the Board of Selectmen when they were taking this issue up, it was just a sense I had from interpreting 901, that this is actually, believe it or not, a leftover from the town meeting form of government before that's why it's the first term. This section, 901, is so old and has survived through so many different charter revisions that it now doesn't make any sense at all. It actually did refer to the first term of the Board of Selectmen all those years ago, when the town moved from a town meeting form of government to the first selectman form of government.
Mhm.
And so it predates even that. And for that reason, we recommend that 901 be deleted in its entirety. Because if you take out their first term, it still doesn't make any sense. The ordinance, how often are they gonna pass the ordinance? And then to the council, to Bob's point, you can't change an ordinance with a resolution. So there's references in 902 to a resolution, but if you're dealing with an ordinance, it's the personnel rules and regs that we have to comply with, unless the Board of Selectmen changes. So I think 901 can go. 902 just needs a little work. And thanks for letting me comment.
So what I take from that, apart from Mark's disrespect for our town's traditions,
Historical protections of this law.
is that
Blasphemy in the town meeting.
we're asking, do we need an ordinance to describe these town positions, or can we simply have the town manager propose a set of instructions and have the Board of Selectmen pass it by resolution, which is a question I now pose to our town council. Because if there's no problem with that legally, I don't see a practical objection to it.
That's right.
You mean just leave the ordinance in place, take out 901?
Well, take out the requirement for an ordinance. Presumably, the Board of Selectmen will have to clear up any discrepancies between the existing ordinance and whatever it passes in the future by resolution. But they could repeal the ordinance and simply have assuming that the ordinance will be repealed, is it okay to have the position descriptions and the other material discussed in 902 prepared by the town manager, adopted by the Board of Selectmen by resolution, and leave it at that.
Well, if yes, it could be done that way, but it takes away the permanence that the ordinance provides, that it's really a minimum standard for your your personnel structure and rules. If you don't have that, you could think of, all kinds of chicanery where you just do away with personnel descriptions entirely and say, there shall be a public works director and he shall be my cousin because he needs the job. It's intended to set up sort of a standard good government practice, and if you do it by resolution, resolutions don't require public hearings.
No.
So you could, and it's not, an ordinance, definition of an ordinance is a law of general applicability in the town, and a resolution is simply a statement of the will of the legislative body. I wouldn't want to not have an ordinance is what I'm.
So then we need a procedure, essentially, we need to clear it up. Because that the town manager is going to prepare the descriptions, this Board of Selectmen will approve it, but it all has to be consistent with
the ordinance. And maybe you just say that,
which we don't know if they've compared the two anytime in recent past.
If you get rid of 901, make 902 901, and say all this stuff the town manager is doing has to be consistent with the ordinance.
Well, but then we need something like
You need something
901
to
to say
compel
that
them
there is
to
an
make an
ordinance.
ordinance.
And using Franklin's language, there shall be an ordinance.
There's nothing to compel them to have an ordinance
Well, if you reference it in 902, that it's consistent with the ordinance, which is in existence at the time when the charter is adopted. But yeah, 901 could simply say there shall be an ordinance. Board of Selectmen, instead of adopt, there shall be an ordinance providing for the establishment of position descriptions, and just leave it at that. If you've already done it, you don't have to redo it. But what the ordinance is requiring as a minimum personnel standard is position descriptions, establishment of position description for all town employees except the Board of Education. And such ordinance shall include personnel guidelines, job specifications, salary programs, and other provisions that selection may deem appropriate and necessary. That's kind of your minimum standard for your personnel structure.
It doesn't the requirement that the town manager do it take care of that? We're making him do it.
Yeah, it does, but he does it by resolution. And
which
resolution
has no public input. There's not a public hearing.
is not a public hearing, and resolutions can change as the boards of selectmen change.
If I'm not, why wouldn't there be public here? Like if it's a resolution, it's gonna be adopted by Board of Selectmen, it would be, and there would be public audience in that.
But that doesn't require a public hearing.
Public hearing, not public audience.
So right
We're gonna
now,
have a
there's
public
public
hearing on
hearings on
job
every position
descriptions?
description?
No, but you have you've already had a public hearing on the
On the
ordinance,
ordinance.
which
From
requires
1973.
job descriptions.
And when it was amended in 21.
There are towns that don't have job descriptions, they just sort of have jobs.
What we're saying.
1975
I
for the
know
record.
too is that the town manager shall prepare position descriptions, right? We're requiring the town manager to do that. We're requiring the Board of Selectmen to do that. And if what they come up with is inconsistent with the ordinance, then they're gonna have to amend the ordinance as well. And I don't know, is that the best way to proceed?
I think so. I think there should be some version of 901 that says there shall be an ordinance with these minimum standards. And 902 says the town manager shall prepare all these things consistent with the ordinance, subject to a resolution adopted by the Board of Selectmen. It's been around since 1975, I guess.
So can you just have 901 say the selectmen shall have an ordinance providing for the establishment of position descriptions and then just continue on? And then 902 just stays the same.
Yeah, 902 can stay the same if you have 901 that says there shall be an ordinance.
No, but if they don't.
Yeah,
I'm
one
still-
last question is if it's all gotta be done through ordinance, which, makes sense that we have public input into the ordinance, then why are we making the town manager, go through this process? If the town manager from time to time thinks that we should change it, he can make that proposal to the Board of Selectmen but they're gonna have to do it in the process of amending the ordinance anyway.
Well, the way I read it, 902 is more specific. It talks about pay plans. Barely read it this far away.
Yeah, I mean, 901 just says that there has to be position descriptions.
Well, with salary
There
programs
too, yeah.
and such other provisions as they may deem appropriate and necessary. So I don't know how specific it was. I don't know the
But then
difference between a
the-
salary program.
If we were in the previous form of government, I would be with you. But we are in this town manager form. If he or she goes rogue and doesn't, have descriptions or whatever nefarious things happen, the Board of Selectmen then drops the hammer, right? So I'm not sure what the.
I feel like we're reworking this to fit into an old system instead of bringing it current, which I
Right.
thought was what we're supposed to be doing. So it feels like we're forcing this to work when I think there's probably an alternative.
So
I don't know a simple way to fix it, unless you rework it and bring it back to us.
we only have
Until April 16th.
until April 6th. No, not us.
We have to.
No, the Board of Selectmen has April 16th. We have. No, I
We only have one more week.
Yeah.
No, we got this on March 17th.
Yeah.
I don't think this is an issue that should hang you up that
No.
much. I mean, you can eliminate 901, the ordinance is gonna stay in place. And to repeal an ordinance, you have to have a public hearing, so that would bring it from the public.
Yeah, but but just kicking the can down the road, so let's just say we take out 901, we're not requiring them to have an ordinance. 2 administrations from now, they decide to repeal the ordinance, have a public hearing. Then there's nothing, because we're not requiring them to have an ordinance.
Why don't we just say that, what you said, I think, the selectmen shall have an ordinance providing for the establishment of
Right.
position
Or
descriptions for
there
all
shall
town
be an
employees,
ordinance.
There shall
except
be
employees of
an
the Board of Ed.
Yeah, I think it's there shall be an ordinance,
Period.
and then you can't get rid of the ordinance.
Right.
You change it,
And remove the during the first term of office
Yeah.
under the provisions of this charter, because that doesn't make any sense.
the 901 just sets up minimum standards.
Right.
It's a catch just in case someone goes rogue, like you said.
But then we need to revise the first sentence of 902.
So there's no action if it's already been established.
Right, but we can say, we can begin it with the town manager shall cause to have prepared a statement of duties and responsibilities for each position of the town service. And I guess the minimum qualifications isn't in 901, so we could add after in the town service, something like consistent with the ordinance required by section 901. And leave it at
Sounds good to
that.
me.
And
Okay, so who's gonna make the motion?
can you say that part of that sentence in number two?
Okay, I'll make the motion, I'll
Okay.
try to do it here. So I move that we amend section 901 by omitting the commas and the words between the selectmen and the word shall in the first sentence. To make that sentence read, the selectmen, I'm sorry. Let me start over.
I'm with
I
you.
move that we amend section 901, or the first sentence of 901, to read, there shall be an ordinance providing for the establishment of position descriptions for all town employees, and continue under the current draft.
There shall be an ordinance providing for the establishment of position descriptions for all town. Okay, so
Yep.
it's removal of the words
It's removal of
the
everything
selectmen during
before
the first
and
term of
ordinance.
office shall adopt.
It's not gonna say adopt, it's shall be.
There shall be
There shall be
an ordinance providing for the establishment of position descriptions for all town employees except employees of the Board of Education. I further move that we amend 902, the first sentence of 902, by eliminating the words following the action of the selectmen pursuant to section 901 of this chapter. Beginning the sentence with the town manager and having that sentence read, the town manager shall cause to have prepared a statement of the duties and responsibilities of each position in the town service, comma, consistent with the ordinance pursuant to section 901 of this chapter, comma, and of the minimum qualifications for appointment to such position, period.
All right, so if you look on the screen, those changes are made. So this is how it's gonna look. I think it's gonna just where, okay. So that is how the clean version's gonna look. There shall be an ordinance providing for the establishment of position descriptions for all town employees. And then 902, town manager shall cause to have prepared a statement of the duties and responsibilities of each position in the town service, comma, consistent with the ordinance pursuant to section 901 of this chapter, and of the minimum qualifications.
Just mind, do we need to say of this chapter? I know it's silly, but we don't say that, and I was just looking at other areas and nowhere do we say of this chapter, we
She's
just
correct.
refer to section.
Section 901 exists by itself.
There is no A, B, or anything, it's just, I don't know, it's
I'll
minor.
accept that as a friendly amendment.
No second?
Second.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in
Yeah.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, they
Any
did it.
opposed?
No,
You're a no.
Oh, Jackie was a no?
Yeah,
sorry.
don't be sorry.
This is how sausage is made.
It's pretty good sausage.
All right.
So, 9 was general housekeeping and grammar. So I just had a couple of questions. And they could be non-issues. On in section 502C, we capitalize administrative officials, but administrative officers are lowercase. I don't know what the correct protocol is for that. I'm not a lawyer.
I've encountered the word administrative officers multiple times. And I did not do any changes of those because I didn't know if administrative officers was the direct link one-to-one with administrative officials. I don't believe it is because administrative, as you know, town officers, administrative officers was distinguished. We eliminated all of that and just made it administrative officials, but then the term administrative officers is routinely used in this document. And I did not have enough guidance to go ahead and
Yeah, because it's also.
change that to a one-to-one, because I don't know if administrative officers are administrative officials. I don't believe so. And I
It's
would
also in section 503A. Or administrative officers.
Did we not define the term administrative officials?
We didn't define any terms anymore.
And exactly, and under your point, Madam Chair, I added 503A administrative officials to encapsulate, again, not knowing if the term administrative officers, the charter already doesn't specify. And so since we added the administrative official, I wanted to cover in 503A, this is in your proposed charter, that's why we added the language and administrative officials to let everyone know everyone is assigned under the town manager for an appointment in their various sections. So that would,
Isn't there a list of administrators?
So
yes, that's in chapter 7, but they're mentioning, Madam Chair Barnett mentioned that the word administrative officers is being used and it's not capitalized. So I'm making the distinction that I don't know what administrative officers are. And yes, you're
Well,
correct, the
I'm
charter.
sorry, administrative officials refers to the people identified, the positions identified in section 702.
Right.
Who is administrative officer?
Who are officers?
I think it's everybody who isn't an administrative official.
Well, then should they be capitalized like administrative officials or not?
No, because they're not.
Because there's
they're
not a title.
They're not specifically identified.
Okay.
And you could go down the line, those are employees.
Right, so then like.
I don't even know what the distinction of administrative and to not remove words or suggest their removal because of ignorance, I can't. I didn't research. I didn't know how to.
No,
So
I'm
all I
just
did.
asking a question.
Exactly, but it bears repeating that the charter we added a new term, administrative officials, which is clear. Chapter 7, we list who they are. But the charter has mentioned the Board of Selectmen having the power over departments and administrative officers. So in terms of not trying to rock the boat on something I don't know anything about, I left those alone and just added administrative officials where we can, but the term administrative officers is unclear.
Presumably the term administrative officers is a holdover
From before.
previous charter.
So here's what AI says.
You can't believe,
I-
oh my
Turn it
God,
off,
okay.
man.
An administrative officer acts as the backbone of an organization, ensuring daily operations run smoothly and managing office logistics. They act as liaison between staff, management, and external vendors.
I wanna
But we
meet
don't
these,
have
Staff
that,
management and external, so that's
It doesn't
staff.
exist.
That's,
I wanna meet these people.
We're
I
paying.
I think it's a distinction without a difference. In this charter, we have a list of specific administrative.
officials. In the prior charter, we had the term administrative officers and department heads shall be appointed in the manner here, blah, blah, blah. Okay, it went on, so we did use the term administrative officers, but under that was under 702. But under the new 702, we changed that to administrative officials and then listed them under statutory
Right, so I think
directives.
administrative
Yes.
officers should go away.
Yeah.
I think it should go away. I don't think you need it.
You don't need it.
Well, in that section, but he's saying it appears a lot of other places, so
I-
I don't think
I
we can
only
just
found
say
it
delete it
twice.
throughout the entire chart.
Yes.
Oh, okay,
Can
you
you do a
mentioned.
quick search of how
I'll
many?
do it right now.
Except for,
Yeah. I only saw that twice, but you know, I've read this so many times.
alright, well, it's gonna show a lot of, I'll
non,
just take off the red line for a second.
yeah.
So while you're doing that search, the only other thing I question is for a grammatical thing is under 602 on page 20 of the revised charter, elector is capitalized. Should elector be capitalized?
Elector should always be capitalized
Okay.
because it's a defined term in the statute.
Okay. That's all I,
So you're doing a word search on administrative
Officers.
Officers, yeah.
Officers.
okay,
Okay, so we've,
There's a bunch of them.
oh, do you wanna
Like,
do
like
administrative
way more than
officers,
two.
Madam Chair, where we
yeah,
want to
no,
go?
so take it out.
So we're just showing,
Before we
How many
take it
times do
out,
we have it in here?
we should-
so it's under
Town
section 502 for the
Yep.
duties of the town manager under personnel. So it's saying all administrative officers will get position descriptions and town manager may appoint administrative officers. This is where I added. Okay, so this whole section was just, I think.
So wouldn't that be
Wait, didn't we just
administrative
go over
officials?
Didn't we
Yeah,
just-
Madam Chair just pointed out that it was administrative officers was in the past referred to those that we now became administrative officials. So I can go back in the document. So every time, so the only other times it says it is in 503, also in the town manager section, administrative
I
officer.
think
Yeah.
It's only 5
administrative
times.
officers
Oh,
are
okay.
anybody who's not an administrative official.
Yeah, in 503, it references both. Such administrative officers and administrative officials are assigned. So
Well, we added that. We added that. The commission added that. So let's.
So 902 requires the town manager to come up with position descriptions for positions in the town service.
Yep.
And I would say that that covers the people who are not administrative officials. So maybe we should make 503 consistent with that.
Yes.
Okay, so
706.
Such administrative
also
officials
references-
and-
Administrative officers is very confusing.
Yes, I agree.
Well,
That's what we're saying, yeah.
Yeah, so instead of administrative officials, we could say.
No.
No, administrative
The town-
officers.
Officers, right. Persons in the town service
so change 503 to say
Or
administrative
position.
officials and those
and
Those in the towns.
in the
Yeah.
town service.
or positions in the town
Positions in the
service.
town service.
Positions in the town.
So replacing the word administrative officers with that.
Yes.
If it's an and.
You're gonna list administrative officials first, administrative officials and positions in the town service.
So that would be 502C.
Yeah, if he's doing that in
It's 502C and 503A.
it's repeating what's in 902.
Right. We like to be
It's
repetitive.
consistent in the, consistent
We're
with
consistent.
So it's going
He's gotta
to,
do it
sorry,
twice.
so just so we're clear, so where it says here, where this is what we're reading right now is the clean version.
Okay.
We want it to say the town, under C, the town manager shall have the responsibility for developing for position descriptions for all, and did you say, Madam Chair, administrative official, sorry. How did you want this to read? This is the clean version, so this is what it looks like right now. It's just highlighted because I highlighted administrative officer.
Description for all administrative
Officer.
officials
And
and
those in the town
and those
service,
in the
subject to
town
the
service.
Administrative officials and positions in the town service.
with a capital A and capital O.
Right, because they're titles.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So right here,
Yeah.
administrative officials, sorry,
But don't worry about the typos. We got it.
and positions,
Correct.
positions,
In the
In
town
the town service.
positions in the town service.
Yep.
And you take
And then
that
comma.
extra I from administrative and
Yep.
put it in positions.
Thank you.
And get rid of administrative officers after that.
Positions, removing administrative officers.
Yep.
And then removing in the second, then this half, the town manager may appoint, and it can, we can remove administrative officers.
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, so,
Just do a global edit and
Well, there's duplication. There's only 5, so we're good.
wherever it says administrative officials, replace it with positions in the town
Remove
service.
administrative
Okay,
officers.
gotcha.
Yep.
Mayor, remove administrative officials and then the same line and positions in the town service?
Yep.
Position,
That comma.
Get rid of the comma though.
Employees, is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Well,
makes
then
it
we
a
turn it as a position.
no, with no comma?
town employee.
No comma
comma
between
before
officials and on the third line.
And then you have to make that
Comma
change in
after
project.
hiring.
Okay, so we made that in C and I'm gonna make it in the other section.
503A.
503A.
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Such, so we're moving administrative officers, putting administrative officials first, may apply to the appointments and removals. Such, I'm gonna keep such, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, such administrative officials and positions
Correct.
And
In the town service.
in
service, keep the comma, as are assigned to the town manager as helpful provisions of. Okay,
and then
Mark, that's still consistent with how you approach personnel, correct?
It is, sir, thank
He
you.
has no
for-
idea.
and so, so do we,
Except there's no comma after the word hiring.
Yes, okay.
That's just minor.
Good.
And
Just
last-
wanna,
Yeah.
just wanna make sure you don't walk out of here saying,
No,
wait a minute, what the
no.
heck just happened here?
Looks good.
last mention of administrative officers, excuse me, tongue twister, is 706 under the town
Oh,
attorney
under Bob's
section.
section.
So are we replacing this with all town, I mean,
What am I doing now?
so it's
Now he wakes
saying,
up.
town attorney
What? He's got a new
shall
job.
appear for and protect the rights of the town in all actions, suits, or proceedings brought by or against it or any of its departments, offices, agencies, boards and commissions, or board or commission members acting in their official capacity as defined by law, and shall be the legal advisor of the selectmen first. And it would read
All town administrative officials.
Just all town employees.
no, we're gonna keep
Don't
saying.
switch it.
we can even just
You
keep,
could say all
Let's
town
use 10
administrative
words and we'll use
officials
one.
and employees.
because this says he's, it says he's
Legal
the
counsel.
legal advisor for all the employees.
Can we just say all town employees?
Should probably be consistent.
No,
That's not true.
Well, what about the ones
Positions.
that are in a collective bargaining?
Yeah.
I'm
No.
not the legal advisor for town employees.
Right.
Can't say that.
Are you the legal advisor for town officials?
I represent
Under E&O, yeah.
offices, I don't represent. A
Employees.
town employee could, get hit by a car walking across the street, and I don't want the
Oh.
charter to say I'm representing that person in a personal injury. Likewise, a town employee could make a big mistake in their job. It's our job to defend through insurance counsel that employee in their official capacity. So we don't wanna say all town employees, we do wanna say administrative officials, the capitalize.
So remove just administrative officers?
Yeah, I represent the town clerk, whoever that town clerk is.
Right.
I represent the town clerk's office. I don't represent the
The people who
assistant.
work for Trish,
Right. Unless they're acting in their legal
or under their capacity as
capacity in that role.
And you say that acting in their official capacity as defined by law.
Does it say that? I can't read
Yeah.
it.
It doesn't say.
Yes, it
It
does.
does.
The sentence before.
Right above it,
Oh,
Yeah, that's the key phrase.
acting in their official capacity as defined by law
So we're just saying-
and shall be the legal advisor, so it is an additional
Right.
responsibility.
But you're not the legal advisor to the town administrative officers, you're just the town advisor to the administrative officials.
We still don't know. who they
That's
are.
correct.
Okay, so we need to take the town administrative officers out of here.
Yeah, this is a remnant for when we were confused that we use both terms interchangeably. And now we're changing that,
Right,
so it'd be administrative.
okay,
And-
List, the people on the list.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
And we're gonna keep that, the town word in it, because it says boards and commissions a little after administrative
It's fine.
officials.
That's
Okay,
fine.
so this is what it looks like clean now.
Is that the last administrative official?
That was the, let me confirm, Commissioner Brett. Yep, no more matches. It was only 3 mentions
It
previously.
was that hard, huh?
Catch.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
No, that
Any other grammatical
I
changes?
didn't see any identified in this memo.
okay.
Doesn't see any I'm gonna bring up.
Okay, so
Only kidding,
I'm
only
going
kidding.
to suggest we talk about item 5.
Okay.
Unless anybody has a problem with that. So, the discussion at the Board of Selectmen meeting was to keep the Economic Development Commission in the charter. We've heard from the Economic Development Commission, although for record, I will say after we requested comment from them, we received them only after we chose to remove them. So I just wanted to make that known that they were heard, but they were heard after we had made the initial decision. My personal opinion is I'm not dying on this hill. I'd leave Economic Development Commission in the charter. However, I would make a recommendation in our draft report to the selectmen that within 6 months of adoption of the charter, that they redo the ordinance so it matches how we are functioning today with economic development, because they were confused even at their meeting because we have an MOU with Main Street. The town manager is responsible for economic development. The Economic Development Commission takes staff hours. I think my personal opinion, the ordinance needs to be revised so it functions the way the Board of Selectmen intended to function, but they need to revisit that ordinance within 6 months of adopting the charter if we leave it in. That's my opinion. Opening up the floor.
Some input that I really appreciate the Board of Selectmen mentioning is, do we need to even have any of these in there? I don't know if you guys, if you watched the video that, again, thank you for
Yes, I
being
was there the whole time.
Yes, I do appreciate that. All these could go, if they weren't in here, yes, there's some important ones, ethics, police commission and stuff. But I think it was our first who said, do we even need any of them in here?
But then the discussion morphed.
It went everywhere. And I thought that might be something that we should discuss here as well is, I hope you watched that section where it said that. Because it is a valid argument in a way. There are some very important ones. Some of them are like housing authority. That's of course
Open
that's important.
space.
Open space, police commission, but there could be a new one that's not mentioned in here. Or there could be one here that 5 years from now is gone because of state statutes or other things like that. So I don't know, I figured
So I
I'd
think
mention it.
that my interpretation of the consensus at the end of the meeting was that they wanted to, after they started talking through we shouldn't remove that one, we shouldn't remove this one, whoa, that they said, well, let's just keep EDC in because we shouldn't take the other ones out. And I felt like EDC was being singled out.
EDC, we did vote to take it out.
Right.
I went to a Board of Selectmen meeting where they had a discussion about Main Street and the funding for Main Street. And I believe they agreed to keep the funding for Main Street. Was it, Mark, $85,000?
They put back 50.
They put back 50 in.
Okay, and you were looking also for a part-time employee to assist in some of the economic development, is that
Shared with the
correct?
library.
It's an existing employee, but yes, it's not new, but yes.
Okay. So the question becomes, how would a town employee, Main Street, and an economic development commission work together? And not like off all over the place. And it's, to me, I'm wondering, one of the requirements for EDC was to get a direction from the Board of Selectmen as to what they were supposed to accomplish in the coming year and then give a report. I didn't see in any documents, maybe I'm wrong, that the Board of Selectmen ever gave EDC direction, nor did EDC give a report.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong. but-
They gave a report.
Is that wrong?
They give a report. And as far as direction, from what I remember, there would be like a short letter. Here's what we want you to focus on. Someone from the board would kind of come in the first meeting of that elected year. And we discuss it and then we go on. And there would be a report. And reports for every year I was there, they were always done.
Okay.
In 2024 and 2025, I've been the staff support for the EDC and I've assisted them in completing timely
So it
both
has
those
been done.
reports. The reports from the EDC to the Board of Selectmen in 2024 and 2025 have been done. That is what I can
And did they
say.
get direction from the Board of Selectmen?
In my role, we did not, the EDC did not receive formal direction or guidance in a document from the BOS that's beyond the Board of Selectmen goals that they adopted.
Yeah, that's
There-
what they're
there
There was
saying.
no standalone document that was created regarding the direction and guidance.
But we also put any economic development under the town manager's job responsibilities, so
But
that's.
actually, I didn't see it under the time, the job
It's
description.
not in the
I think
charter.
We took it out,
Yeah.
It's
We
in-
assumed it was
But I-
implicit, I think.
but I think it's still part of your job description. Is that still in your job description?
Yes.
He's
I think-
reviewed on it.
I think it is.
Maybe that's how.
I know
There's
there's
discussion
discussion
that-
the commission took out the economic development sentence from the town manager's section. I was wondering why the commission took out those words, but it is in the requirement of the job and it's also in the evaluation that the Board of Selectmen does of the town manager.
Did we take that out inadvertently?
No, that was on purpose. The commission discussed it and it was because according to my knowledge, of course, Madam Chair, you can of course explain it.
That might have been the one
It would-
meeting that I missed.
I think the
They
idea.
discussed it. It singled out a specific set of goals.
As with eliminating the EDC from the charter is that we were leaving these matters to the discretion of the Board of Selectmen.
Right.
That is, the question you raised about how these moving parts all fit together is a valid question, but it's not necessarily one that we're supposed to be answering as opposed to the Board of Selectmen.
And I don't think it's as straightforward as the other ones listed, so I understand the point, like, well, we could take this one out, we could take that one out, but I feel like this one in particular needs attention, and then that attention was gonna come from taking it out of here, so we don't prescribe.
Right, because
How
it's
to
an
fix
ordinance
it.
that exists on the books.
Yes.
Yeah.
About how they're constituted, what their responsibilities are.
But the ordinance can be eliminated.
Mhm.
And there's something I don't quite understand, but there's the Main Street Partners, whatever, which is basically a nonprofit, but it's taking town funds. There's an MOU, but I don't know how much control or direction you give that organization. There was also comments that the EDC was taking up a huge amount of time from staff.
Staff time.
I didn't see that. I mean,
Well,
I
you
know
look
that-
at their last minutes, they have Board of Selectmen, they have Sustainability Committee, they have Library and Tourism Historical Society, they have zoning, someone from zoning, someone from planning, someone Main Street Partnership, and the town manager.
we're at
That's all.
the last meeting, you say?
Your liaison updates and reports. That's a lot of other commissions and groups.
The liaisons, like the Main Street, I remember they showed up the first couple meetings I was there and I didn't see them for 3 more years. They never showed up. The library person, they were there when we had a new guy and he was really hyped up about it. And that person quit. I never saw another library person show up. So there's all these liaisons. Pretty regularly, we would have someone from the Board of Selectmen and occasionally someone from zoning. But there wasn't like 10 people there from other departments. So, and I mean, if EDC and Main Street were supposed to be working together, that wasn't happening that I could see.
Well, when are you talking?
And they never came to the meetings. There was never.
But are we
never discussion.
talking pre-town manager time?
No, I'm talking.
Pre-town manager, I was the chair of EDC and I was on EDC and
I've
Main
been off
Street
this
showed up at my
for-
meetings. They were at 8
I've been off for
o'clock
1
in the
year,
morning.
but I was on this prior 6 years, so it was during town manager time.
Okay.
If I could share just a couple of comments, if you don't mind. So at the last EDC meeting, one of the things that was discussed was the charge from the Board of Selectmen to get this fixed and get it right. That's the board's charge to me as your town manager. And I conveyed that to EDC, and EDC voted, I think it was a formal vote, to have me reach out to Main Street and see. They even were willing to change the regular meeting dates to accommodate the schedule of the executive director at Main Street. To your point, she has not been able to attend because of family conflicts and so scheduling problems. So in a symbol or a signal that we are going to try to do what the Board of Selectmen's directed and get all this fixed, the EDC is on board. At the same meeting, they asked for volunteers to join the Main Street so-called vacancy study that is going on. And they got a volunteer, and Ms. Nielsen has acknowledged that. I've also set up regular meetings with Sarah and with their board chair. So just since we had the Board of Selectmen meeting, all of these things, I think we're checking the boxes on the things that, to your point, should make it run a little bit smoother. But there was, I think, and I've attended, I think, all but one EDC meetings, and they felt that they were being picked on a little bit. I can't paraphrase it, but I think the point was that it looked to them like they were the only board and commission being taken out by the charter, and they feel like they want to contribute. So that's all. Thank you, Chair.
Well, again, I'm gonna go back to, there are 6 board members, and in attendance in the January meeting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 other attendees at that meeting. So that wasn't the EDC, it was all the other people giving input to the EDC.
Is that the one they had a guest speaker?
January 28th, it was, Marv Nelson was there, Wendy Matsudas, Mike Payne,
He's the
Lee
liaison.
Thomas, sorry, I should get my cheaters on here. Historical Society liaison, Ray Langdon was there from the chamber. Franklin, you were there as well. So, and there's a few others, but it doesn't say their name, it just says their title. So, it does seem like there's a lot of people giving reporting, but not much coming out of the reporting. Like, these are what's happening in town. It's almost like a what's happening. But I don't see a lot of
Yeah, it's tough. I mean,
activity of what's coming next
Yeah.
from the EDC. It's like all the information going in, but what's coming out?
everybody's volunteers and there's no budget, so. I guess it's
Well, I
town's
guess-
gonna make up their mind. Do they wanna hire a nonprofit and pay that
So it's,
for
But I'm saying
economic
is,
development
but there's
or have a
other
volunteer?
commissions that are in the ordinances that don't have a budget as well. I don't think we're picking on the EDC because they're
well,
not
first of all,
here.
I hope, no one has ever said at this table that economic development is not important to the town of Simsbury.
Never.
Okay? No one has ever said that. Okay? I don't think it's our job to prescribe a policy about economic development for the town. We are not elected officials.
Correct.
Okay? The Board of Selectmen are elected. The Board of Selectmen should have a vision. They should have some sort of charge for how they were going to develop our town, whether it's residential, commercial, I don't care what it is. Like they've got to have a vision for it, right? That's not our job.
Right.
It's not the charter's job to do that.
And how they all work together and function is
It's
something
not-
for elected officials to
Officials,
figure
it's
out.
not for
And it
us.
has to be in line with what they want, so this is way too sticky to even, and I think what Mark said kind of proves our point that all of a sudden there's a flurry of activity because they thought maybe they'd be removed or something, and now it's like, okay, oh, all right, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then as soon as this charter revision's over, it's just, oh, well, just back to the confusion and no
So-
one knows who does what.
So is there any harm in leaving it in and then just putting in the draft report that we want the Board of Selectmen to revisit this ordinance that's already on the books to make sure it's relevant to how things are functioning today? Just to
clarify what their mission and purpose is.
clarify their mission and purpose. They don't have to take our recommendations in the draft report, but my theory behind that is if we make it public and we put it in a document that we're recommending this, the electors can hold them accountable for that, for doing something with it, right? Potentially.
What if we were to make the EDC permissive, if we instead of requiring the appointment of an EDC, we said the Board of Selectmen may establish an EDC?
Right now, the charter says the Board of Selectmen shall create by ordinance an economic development commission which shall have members, duties,
So what if we
responsibilities.
change the shall to may?
Which they may do anyway, but you could say the Board of Selectmen may create by ordinance, which they've already done, an economic development commission, and just change that one word.
Which probably wouldn't be a bad compromise because the Board of Selectmen did say they wanted us to consider putting it back.
Right. So if we put it back in, we change the word to may. If 4 years down the road, we have a windfall of money and we can hire a full-time economic development director and we don't need an economic development commission because we can have a director, there's not a requirement to have this commission.
We used to have a director.
That's right.
I'm up for that. I would like to reiterate though what you said, or second it, or support it, whatever you wanna say, that I think we should have a strong recommendation saying this is the second straight charter commission that we've wrestled with this issue, and still economic development in this town is completely disorganized, and kind of get it together, folks. I'm serious.
No, seriously, I think we're gonna be talking about this in 7 years.
Absolutely.
So
I completely
take
agree.
it down the road, but
And actually, it's
the
more
exact same thing is
complicated
gonna
now with the town manager involved.
But if we're
100%.
back
Not
on it,
complicated, but
if we're taking the, it's removed, let's put it back, we're still left with this statement that just doesn't have any of the other, parts that the optional ones have that are defining something else. It's just saying, shall create an ordinance, it has these rules. And I think a lot of the feedback we got was, well, if it's just Board of Selectmen, they could go and change the terms or something. They can do that right now with the way it's written. They can just change the ordinance because it doesn't define any terms or positions or anything in the charter.
But to Bert's point of change, if we left it in and changed the word shall to may,
Yeah.
it gives them the flexibility of not having to have this. Should we be able to go back to our old way of doing business of actually having an economic development person on staff, where we actually had a fund that we used to fund for economic development for things like tax abatements and incentives for developers. What was it, 20 years ago?
If you put anything that says may in a charter, I don't see why should it even be there. What's the point of
But
it?
doesn't it also let them just not do anything?
Yeah.
And then it's the same problem, so I don't, all right.
But we're not here to solve the problem of economic development because that's the
No,
elected.
we're the clarity people though,
Right.
that's what we were supposed to do, so I know people are upset because they hear we're getting taken out of the charter, but I think the entire purpose and message has been missed. It's not like a matter of form, like this is to start real change that was supposed to make things better, so it's.
And I'm gonna put your point
So-
is you asked all the commissions for feedback a year ago.
2 years,
Well, when we had.
or a year and a half ago.
I know, it
When you
feels like
started.
3 years ago. And you asked all the commissions for their input on the charter. And we didn't get anything back until we.
So you're advocating to
I
leave
think
it
we
out.
stick with the
Sure,
plan
Lynn
that we
was
had.
in before, she came to the meeting, spoke before
I don't recall
it came
that.
out.
I could be wrong. I don't recall
I'm
that.
sorry, I didn't hear.
That Charmaine,
Someone-
she came in after, from what my recollection is, but I could be wrong.
Well,
It doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't feel strongly one way or the other. But if we
I like
continue to leave it out, that doesn't in any way prevent the situation from persisting exactly as it is today. I mean, that's a problem that it's not our job to solve.
Unless we prescribe a budget and real details on getting it going, the US is just they're not gonna do it. They're gonna go with Main Street, put the money there, and
Jacqueline, I like what you just said.
I mean,
I like what Jacqueline
I think
just
we
said.
had already voted
I don't know how that
like,
works.
to leave it that
why
way.
we have
To
a
stick with our
nonprofit
plan.
organization that we're paying to do EDC, economic development, and then we have an economic development commission that there's no direction and no budget for.
But you're so far ahead of where we're even
Yeah, so that
supposed to
has
be.
nothing to do with
That's
us,
the point,
though.
is that
Yeah.
all of that is so confusing that we were doing something to kickstart change to make it, you're right, it's not our job to clarify it, it's somebody else's, but nobody was doing it, so I haven't heard anything today that changes my opinion from the last time we voted and discussed all of it, so. Except for the fact that we don't want people to be angry or upset, or it makes them feel better, but
We probably had
It's
more
just
public
continuing
comments
the
on
problems.
We have a
keeping that in
request.
than anything else.
well, not
I would say that.
originally.
We have a request to not change it so that it's cemented in there and instead of continue.
It's a request that we
Somebody want to make a
reconsider.
motion.
It's a request that we consider it.
Yeah.
So.
No, I meant I haven't
Yeah.
heard anything
Right.
that
No,
would
no,
persuade
I-
me to change the plan that we had already thought was
Okay,
the best.
so without getting too much into the weeds again about what is happening or not happening and who's responsible for what and who's doing what job, I think we should just take a vote again.
Mhm.
Okay.
Should we also,
Go ahead.
should we mention
Yeah, we just said-
I know it's already in the record, but
Thank you.
I think that should also be considered because
Yes.
and I think this is also the issue is that, okay, if we're gonna keep it in here, we have to articulate X, Y, and Z, and I'm not prepared to do that.
So we have written comments from one of our commissioners, Lalitha, who was not able to be present. She's not able to vote because she has to be present to vote. And could not attend Zoom because of the time difference of where she is currently. But her comments regarding EDC, and I'll just read them, is I understand the need to keep EDC. However, I will be in a better position to vote on retaining the EDC in the charter if I knew its mission and purpose. If I were to retain the EDC in the charter, we would need to be able to articulate what it is empowered to do. Since I will not be at the meeting where I could seek clarification, I'll abstain. So I think this speaks to Jesse's point that it's one of the things in here that really has no teeth behind it in terms of how many members and how, it's not related to anything. So
And I'm not prepared to revisit that and start saying they must have 7 members, they should do this, they should work with.
We don't do that with anyone
Main
else,
Street.
no other commission. We don't do
No.
that with any other commission.
I'm not doing it.
All the other ones mentioned are clearly spelled out with their mission.
So I'll make a motion to take a vote on that we, I don't even know how to word this. Go ahead.
Let me help you here. Okay. I make a motion that the commission does not put the Economic Development Commission back into the charter
I'll
The
second
draft version of it,
You-
we have to word it as a draft version of the charter.
as draft version of the charter.
You
And we
current,
maintain it as written.
Right.
Maintain-
Yeah, that's
exactly,
better.
thank
Maintain our
you,
draft as
Commissioner
written.
Lucci.
Right.
Your motion would be to just make no action if you don't want to add the EDC, even with the may language instead of shall. You do not, you wanna keep it as is. So your
The draft.
motion,
The draft.
the draft report.
We're gonna keep.
So the motion to make
draft
no
report as it is
change
with the
regard-
removal of the Economic Development Commission.
Do you have a second?
I'll say.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Ron.
Same, just for the record.
Vice Chair Hinold, did you
Is
oppose or no?
No,
I was in favor of
I was
my
in
motion.
favor of
Okay.
his motion, so it was
I
the
was
same vote as we
referring
took
to
last
Ron.
time.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
so
democracy.
the last item is the fun one. So, this is regarding Item 1, in section 302, the review and reconsider the length of term for Board of Selectmen, including option of 4-year terms of staggered terms or not staggered terms, whole board at the same 4-year term. So there was a lot of discussion at the Board of Selectmen meeting regarding this. Some of the members of the Board of Selectmen who originally testified in front of us for 4-year terms went back to let's leave it at 2-year terms. There's a nuance, I think that many of you may recognize or not. If we were to consider just a standard 4-year term, that in the off years, there's going to be an election for 2 Board of Ed and 2 Board of Finance members because they have staggered terms, which would result in an election for 4 people on a ballot. Be a tough ballot to get a lot of voters out for. And because it's an election, you would still have the state requirements of early voting for 2 weeks and an election for it, for those 4 people, because they would not be on the ballot with anybody else.
Wait, why? Can you say that?
So
We have staggered terms now.
you have staggered
And we
term.
always have somebody on the ballot.
No, you'd have someone on the ballot, but you'd be on the ballot by yourself
By yourself,
Without any
If they
select.
without any selectmen.
which we have a hard enough time getting people to come out. to
I'm
vote.
just putting it out there.
Costs
as-
money to-
Non-staggered,
So-
just 4-year.
Basically, you're making the argument that by putting them on 4-year, we're not gonna save anything in elections because we're gonna have the.
We're gonna have elections.
No matter what.
We're having elections no matter what.
Just for
Okay.
4 people, every other.
My take from the Board of Selectmen
Because that was
discussion.
something to discuss. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. My take from the Board of Selectmen discussion was they had a hard time wrapping their heads around the staggered terms. Okay,
Imagine that.
we had a hard time with that, okay?
There's a lot of unintended consequences that
Consequences to
came
the
up
staggered.
with the requirement from minority. It was.
And we also heard a lot from the public regarding accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only people we heard about a 4-year term was the Board of Selectmen regarding stability.
Right.
And I think accountability still wins out.
Right, and we looked, remember Franklin did that study and said there was never a period where the board got wiped out. There's so
However,
many
That's not
That was
incumbents.
completely
before-
fair because there's 2 separate governments
The
there,
2
right?
separate
In the
forms of
town-
government.
In the town manager form of government, we've had significant disruption.
Yeah, but in this last election, we only had
I know, but
one change.
yeah, no, I hear you. But
Yeah.
to say we looked at this in 1960, it was
Yeah.
no change is not
It's tough.
it's not really fair.
We didn't go
It was
back
a-
to 60.
But it was,
It's
but,
apples to 30 or 40 years.
but it was the only data we
That's my
had.
point.
91?
I
Okay.
think it was
Yeah,
91.
it was 91, but
Right,
it was
well,
the
it's
only
30
data we
years.
had. Okay, so we can't create something that doesn't exist, right?
Right.
The point of some of the selectmen, Selectman Geisley specifically mentioned this, was that there has been a lot of turnover since the town manager form of government. However, my question, if you know a little bit about the politics in town, that turnover wasn't because they didn't choose to run.
Yeah.
It was because they chose not to run. It wasn't because they weren't reelected, they chose not to run. So because there was some internal stuff with DTC on that.
That's right.
So there's that. There was some conversation about taking the first selectman and having that as a separate election from the selectman election. And then the runner-up of the first selectman would not get a seat on the Board of Selectmen, which is totally different than what we're used to.
And there was no public outcry for any of that.
And the Board of Selectmen basically punted it back to us to make a decision because they couldn't make a decision at the end of the day.
So we discussed this
Ad
at a
nauseam.
meeting. We discussed it twice,
Twice.
right? We took it up twice.
Mhm.
And the second time, it took up almost an entire meeting.
Mhm.
And we reached a conclusion on a 5-4 vote.
Mhm.
And as I recall, it really came down to pretty much what Paul just described, is that some people prioritize the fact that 4-year term allows each member of the board to learn the ins and outs of the job more productively, to focus on doing the job rather than having to run for re-election every 2 years. On the flip side, there's the question of where does the public input into the town's government go, especially now that we have a town manager form of government. Don't we want the voters, the electors, to have a way of responding to changes or policies of the government effectively? I came down on that second side. At least 4 people here came down on the other side. I think both are reasonable positions. I don't think anybody made a mistake in the way they voted. But since we had that vote, the Board of Selectmen took up the question. They couldn't resolve it. We have not heard a single member of the public come forward and say, you know what, I think the 4-year term would be better. So I'm going to continue to support 2-year terms. And
I think the 4-year term, even with staggered, functions better if it's actually council manager and there's not it's the first that mixes it up, and we've defined a lot of things to define that. Even if we're going to be this incomplete Board of Selectmen manager model, which might make us the only one in the state doing that, but at least it would have to be council manager with maybe a mayor or something like this. It becomes very complicated, and I think we got a lot of feedback about the removal of the first and the symbolic representation of that. And I think it sticks us back to the 2 or coming up with a staggered overlap against a lot of other changes that probably could be used at the same time.
I'm going to make a motion
Okay.
that, unless, I don't want to cut off the discussion, but I'm going to make a motion that we make no change to the draft report with respect to the terms of the Board of Selectmen.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? You oppose making no change?
Well, it's hard because I
Yeah,
originally
right.
voted for the other way, so
Right.
I don't like that. So I'm not gonna vote to keep it there,
No,
but
that's-
I understand for efficiency's sake, it is what it is, and probably nobody changed their mind, so we can move on, but that's why I voted.
Okay, no, I didn't want to make sure you were heard.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
It's tough either way, it really is.
Well, now that we voted, okay, we're gonna keep it same, but another thing is that if you have a 2-year term, okay, you have a chance every 2 years for the voters to express their dissatisfaction if they're not satisfied with the direction of the town or the direction of the town manager. And if you have 4 years and a town manager is appointed, you basically are giving that town manager a 4-year contract unless you change the board and change 4 people on that board. That town manager is going to continue on. That's just the politics of it and the numbers.
I
but-
think you can still hold people accountable every 2 years with staggered terms. So that sends a message, just like midterms, like nationally, send a message where the country or whoever's headed by sending a message with the elected officials who are up for election. Just because certain ones aren't, it still
Right.
lets them know,
Well,
hey, here's where things are headed if you
To
don't
that
change.
point,
Yeah, you flip
our-
3 and
our
not
state
4.
rep-
I mean-
Our state rep and our state senator also have 2-year terms. So unless that changes where they get 4-year terms, I would say local government should still have the 2-year for the legislative body. They're our legislative body, but I'll leave it at that.
So we've addressed
done?
all the items on there. Do I have,
What's our,
what's our what?
so there's nothing else that we need to do before we end
No,
the meeting?
so-
I just wanna make sure we're
So-
done. We're done.
You have
Adopt your final.
We have to adopt the
Right.
final report.
Right.
with all the changes
With the
that you just
changes that we've
considered.
made today.
And I would add one more thing, with authorization to.
Yeah, the date.
No, not so much
Oh.
today, authorization to, for staff.
Yeah.
Have to correct any Scrivener's errors that we may find in our final review of your final report.
Any what? I'm sorry.
Scrivener's errors.
Okay, I heard something very different, sorry.
Find some place where there's a comma, where there should be a period, instead of coming back to you saying, can we change a comma to a period?
Oh, please
You
change the
authorize us to do that.
Okay.
I did not hear that one, so.
So
It won't go as far as changing the terms of office to 4 years. Franklin and I really looked at it, put the EDC back in.
And
Just before we do that motion, just to be clear on the process after
Yeah,
this,
thank you, that's what I make sure.
is once this is transmitted, not after, today it won't be transmitted tomorrow. Once it's transmitted to the Board of Selectmen, to the town clerk and submitted to the Board of Selectmen, they have 15 days to either reject or adopt our draft.
It's an all or
It's an all or nothing.
No.
No, they can choose.
They can reject the whole thing, they can approve the whole thing, or they can reject some of it and approve others of it. They
What
can.
part can they reject though? They can only reject sections, correct?
of your revisions.
They'd have to reject it in such a way that when they're done rejecting and approving, it's still a cohesive
Yeah.
charter. So they can't pick and choose this sentence, that sentence.
So they can't say we're gonna take out this line
They
and that line.
I'll give you an example. They can't put the EDC back into it.
Right.
They can reject,
They can reject their omission. They can reject.
the omission.
The draft report has an omission removing.
Yeah, I guess they can do
They can
that, yes.
reject that.
that's correct, yes.
How can they do that?
You were proposing revisions.
Yes.
The document exists
That's
by
right.
itself as it is right now, the clean 2016 charter.
I think-
Every single thing you did to it, every comma and period
No,
and
we're doing it.
is a revision. I believe that they have the opportunity to accept or reject every revision. But of course,
I don't think that's
the logic will go crazy. They won't, like in one sentence, remove that and then the whole sentence falls
Well,
apart.
I think what you have to do is compare the charter as it exists today versus the final report. And the report of the Charter Revision Commission will identify all the proposed changes. One of those proposed changes is to delete the economic development. So, and I'll double check this, but I think it's probably the case that they could say, we reject that deletion.
I think you're gonna have to look at that. I don't recall that, Bob, being what we had discussed early on in this.
Well, let me
meeting.
take I will look at it.
Yeah,
But assuming that were to happen, what would be the next step?
if you did a partial,
I mean, assuming that the Board of Selectmen rejects parts of our report, what happens then?
Then they decide what goes to referendum.
They decide what goes to referendum. We don't need to meet again.
And the voters can always overrule. And
They can vote no.
They can vote no.
they,
they could say.
Or they can vote no, it's gonna be more than one question.
Right.
They can vote, but we have to be careful about the questions because we can't give them a combination of questions that
Negate each other.
negate each other.
What would be multiple questions?
We had multiple questions last time,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
but
like changing the term of office.
Yes,
For-
he didn't,
for-
there was no change to the term of office.
Right, so they can't reject it,
Yeah, let's just see what this.
that's why I'm a little confused, that's why I'm like.
so
We're gonna ask the same question, so we're really.
that's why I asked the question.
And also, since we're discussing it, I just wanted to bring this up, 2 points for the commission's attention while Bob, the town attorney DiCrescenzo looks it up. Do we want an additional slide on the final report in capturing this meeting and the revisions you made from it?
Yes.
So one slide, or would you like 2 slides? One slide that shows the Board of Selectmen charges,
Yeah,
and then one
our
slide
response.
showing all of our responses to it.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so 2 additional slides I'll add to your final report. And also, Bob, chime in if you need be on this, but First Selectman Max Studas correctly noted that if we refer, when you submit the final report to the town clerk and Board of Selectmen, it starts a clock.
Right, yeah.
And as you all know,
They have 15
they
days.
have 15 days. First Selectman Max Studas noted that their next regular meeting is April 20th.
Mhm.
So to allow the opportunity for the Board of Selectmen to take action on your final report at their next regular meeting and not forcing them to do a special meeting, is it possible that you allow Town Attorney DiCrescenzo and I to submit the final report on April 5th?
April 5th is a Sunday.
You could
That's Easter.
do 6 and you could include it in the motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say,
Thank you.
Yes.
that's how you
That's
how you
good.
would do it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's what the statute says. The appointing authority by a majority vote of this entire membership, means 4 votes, shall either approve the proposed charter amendments or home rule ordinance amendments, or reject the same or separate provisions thereof.
Approve or reject separate provisions thereof?
That's correct.
So the word provision is vague, not necessarily
Includes amendments,
sections.
It's not really vague. It's whatever you are changing is a provision.
Okay.
Or an
So they
amendment.
could say, your provision is we're deleting the EDC. Don't think it should be in the charter anymore.
And then put it back in.
They could say, we reject that provision.
Right. But they can't, because we're not changing the term,
They can't do
they
anything.
can't reject
can't
that.
touch that.
They can't touch that.
Anything you haven't changed, they can't change.
Gotcha.
Things you are changing, they can reject.
But they can't
So they can
modify.
reject our changes to the police commission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they could.
They can reject everything.
Although they had no questions on it.
But as an example.
The report that we're sending so far does not include the language or the suggestion that Jeff made tonight regarding the EDC, a recommendation. Do you want to propose language to add to the report?
Did we vote on that?
No, just about,
Oh, that's right.
Would that be clear when we clarify our responses to these changes? At the extra slide?
No, because we voted to not.
No.
No,
put it back
You
in.
can have, what I'm hearing is an additional
You can
recommendation,
definitely.
paying attention, or mentioning what you said about EDC. You are removing EDC, the mention of we need to have an ordinance for it. But you can include, obviously, any recommendation related to the charter.
Right, so my
So do
recommendation
you
in the
wanna,
beginning of the conversation was recommending in our draft, not the draft charter, but
But
in
the
our
report.
report,
Yeah.
that
Yes.
within 6 months of the adoption of the charter, that the ordinance for the Economic Development Commission be revisited,
Yes.
reviewed by the Board of Selectmen.
Yes, thank
Yep.
you.
ordinance,
That's
chapter
similar to the
9.
old report that was like, we heard feedback on
Revisited.
this, the
It's
commission
April 6th.
decided
Right.
or concluded.
It's April
So do we need to take a vote on that?
Well, was that if we put it back in or
Yes.
that's regardless? You wanna do it?
Regardless.
Oh, okay, I thought you mentioned that in connection with, we can
I
put it
don't
back
care
in,
if it's in or
but,
out, but they,
okay,
They only get-
gotcha.
We want them
They
to
only
be
get one
doing it.
shot.
We want them to
Well,
pay
yeah.
attention to.
It's the same level, we got feedback and this is actually in the code, not the charter, so we just.
So that's an additional recommendation under your bullet point under your recommendation slides.
so I'll make a motion to that. Do I have a second?
second.
All in-
So
any-
is this motion everything, the April 6th?
No, we haven't made that yet.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Just the EDC.
So that motion hasn't been made. This is just for the
Right.
6 months.
Any more discussion? All in favor of adding that?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, that's unanimous.
Okay, so you have 30 days from the date the Board of Selectmen made their recommendations.
You have until April 16th.
Yes.
You technically could have had a special meeting and done whatever you needed to do.
And we left enough time in case we had to have a second
Right.
meeting on purpose.
But once you submit this final report, it's done.
Yes,
Gotcha.
we'll miss you.
You're on the Christmas card list now.
Like,
So now I need a motion.
All right, I'll put forward a motion to direct Franklin and Bob, why did I offer to do this? To deliver to the town clerk on no earlier than April 6th, the final report of the Charter Commission with additions and amendments as discussed tonight.
I think you have to change it a little bit. That's part 2. Part 1 would be to approve the final report.
Sure, yeah.
Subsequent to
Yes.
approval,
Minor details.
submit on April 6th the report.
Yeah.
Transmit
Can't do it all
the,
in one, huh?
Yeah, try it.
and allow the time between now and April 6th for final review and correction of any scriveners, because there has to be like a reason, why are we waiting till April 6th?
Yeah.
So all of that, did you get that?
Okay,
Yeah.
so make the first.
I kind of got
Yeah, what he said.
Right, exactly.
Whatever he says.
Because it's reasonable for you to say, double check everything, make sure it's right before you send it off to
Yeah.
the Board of Selectmen.
Okay, so make the first motion for approval.
Make me do it again.
Then do it till you get it right.
So the first one is,
To approve the final report with the revisions as discussed tonight.
I couldn't have said it better.
Do I have a second to that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the next
So the
motion.
second motion is to direct staff to deliver the final report as amended and addressed tonight to the town clerk no later
No later than.
April 6th.
Yeah, but also no earlier, right?
Earlier.
To-
Earlier, yeah.
Because
I
they-
guess you-
If we did it earlier,
Right.
that screws up their
Right, yeah.
meeting.
Yeah, to permit them to review the final report and address any Scrivener errors. Edits.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the most important motion of the evening, no, I'm kidding.
For the
I'll let Paul make it.
Before we conclude, may I once again, on behalf of my fellow commissioners, congratulate our chair for
Absolutely.
running it.
Congratulations, all of you.
You sat through a lot more meetings.
That's right.
Especially
Right,
that
and
last
you caught
one.
the administrative officials.
Brownie points tonight.
We're the brownie
No,
points.
you know, I wanna thank you all. Thank Franklin and Bob for their support during all this. It's been a great learning process and a great way to participate in democracy,
Mhm.
as Lolita would say. So I'll speak on behalf of Lolita while she's in her absence. So thank you all. This was a great group of people. So, and I'll let Paul make the final motion of our commission.
I move that this meeting be adjourned.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Commission dissolved?
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you all.
For over 40 years, SCM has been the voice of our town.
Bringing us together through local programming,
Education.
And live broadcasts.
SEM isn't just about television.
It's about empowering our community.
Ensuring our voices are heard during government meetings.
And celebrating milestones.
like our high school graduations.
But today, SEM faces a challenge.
Our funding structure is based on television subscriptions. And it's no secret, people have been cutting the cord.
With a shift to internet-only subscriptions,
SEM receives less revenue.
Even though all our programming is freely available online.
We need your support.
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 Your donation can make a difference.
It will ensure that SCM remains open.
Continues to educate our youth.
And keeps our community informed.
Thanks to SEM, I've been honing my creative skills, helping me work towards my college degree.
SCM is crucial for keeping our community connected.
SCM isn't just here to broadcast local events. They're actually preserving Simsbury's history.
Join us in preserving Simsbury's voice.
Simsbury's voice.
Together we can ensure that SCM continues to thrive.
For generations to come.
Visit our website
Or scan the QR code on your screen to make your donation.
Every contribution
counts.
Thank you for supporting Simsbury Community Media.
where your town
Your schools and
And your government come together.